you doing back here?
Hey, nothing, man. Hey, I'm fixing something. Hey, just stay over there.
But I thought you wanted me to wash your car.
Hey, man, wash it later. Stay over there.
I can give you all the things that you have, that you wanted before. If you listen.
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is AJ Orsini, and I am your host for Orsini's Uncensored Mind, episode 35. That is my actual age. Trivia time for the O-heads out there. I am 35 years of age. This is episode 35. My God in heaven, where is the time gone? Why haven't I been doing this for forever? I should have started this years ago. I've been thinking about that recently. Should have started this years ago. This is so much fun to do, and it's so good to hear from all of you all the time. Before, when this whole thing got started, man, I heard from people very rarely about this show, and now this baby is picking up speed, and it is moving, baby, and I have all of you guys to thank, all of you members of the Squad of O. Thank you so much for literally everything. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. For those of you who do not follow me on social media, first of all, kill yourself. You should be following me on social media. That should be a given. But if you do not, look at the bottom of the page. Not the bottom of the page. Oof, not the bottom, because that's where like the career stuff is, the help button. Don't go all the way to the bottom of the page. Just underneath the audio in the description, you will see all of my social media pages. You should check them all out and see all the exclusive, cool content and all of those things. It's really cool. But if you do follow me, then you already know. I made the announcement a few days ago. The show hit an amazing milestone. Big time. I hit 1,000 downloads. I have all of you guys to thank. 1,000 downloads, man. I didn't think, I'm going to shoot straight with you. I thought it would be a mission to get 100. I really did. I was like, man, if I got to the triple digits, brother, I'd be super duper stoked. I'd be super duper soaked. Not soaked. So I would be super, super stoked. And I was, actually, because it took a long goddamn time to get to 100. A long goddamn time to get to 100. But I now stand before you, the man of 1,010 downloads. As of right now that I'm recording this, Wednesday afternoon, I'm literally, I've been so busy this week. I haven't had a chance to do shit as far as recording. I've been doing stuff on social media, which again, you should check by going to the description just below the audio and following all of those. But I've been very heavy on social media, but I haven't really done anything for the show over the course of the past week, because it's been finals week for my school stuff. As most of you know, if you've listened to the episodes, I've been going to school. I went back to school, old man college sitch, and this is finals week. So I've had essays, I've had finals, I've had a lot of shit going on, but as of literally an hour before I recorded this, I uploaded my last essay, and I am free and in the breeze. I have a presentation tomorrow that I have to do, but you guys know me, motherfuckers. I'm great with presentations now. I can sell anything, baby, and I have to sell myself tomorrow, which is the easiest of all the things to sell. So I finally have some time, so I squeezed it in. I'm doing it right now, Wednesday afternoon, and thank God for that, because up until the last 24 hours or so, I didn't know a whole lot about what the fuck I was going to talk about. But I got a shitload to talk about now, because the shit, as they say, is hitting the proverbial fan. It's all over the net. A lot of stuff going on. And we're going to get into literally as much of it as I possibly can in the 60-minute format. But I want to go back to the 1,000 downloads for a second, because I want to thank all of you tremendously from the heart. Not just AJ, but Anthony wants to genuinely thank all of you for, it's becoming a bit of a catchphrase. I should probably keep that. But, I've been saying recently to people, I've been typing it up, thank you for listening, thank you for downloading, thank you for sharing, and thank you for enjoying. And I really mean that every time that I say it. And the fact that now I'm at 1,000 downloads, and not just the downloads, but a lot of those downloads have come from other countries. That's the part that really fucking shocks me. I guess because of the social media stuff, my stuff can get out there a little bit more. you know, because it's social media and everybody's connected to each other in some way, shape, or fucking form. But 2, 4, 6, 8. I got 8 here. 8 countries that have downloaded my shit. Obviously, the United States, duh. But, you know, Brazil, Canada, Germany, Ghana, Indonesia, St. Kitts and Nevis, which is an island over in the Bahamas area down in the Caribbean, and the Syrian Arab Republic. Don't know how that one happened, but thank you very much. You know, thank you to all of you, as a matter of fact, for downloading the show. I wouldn't necessarily call this an international show just yet. The downloads are very few. I'm going to be honest, they're very few and far in between. There's not a whole lot, but there's enough, definitely more than I thought I would ever get in the Syrian Arab Republic. But thank you guys anyway for downloading the show. Brazil, thank you so much. You know, I've already said all the names, Indonesia, Ghana. I actually got a lot of Ghana interaction on IG, on the Instagram, which is actually where most of my followers are on Instagram. I've gotten a lot of social media presence with them over the past week or so. A lot of shares, a lot of interaction with the hashtags. So that's been really cool. Obviously, the United States is my hub. That's where I'm from. It's the country of O, as opposed to the countries of O. And I got a lot of stuff going on there, because also on that side now, I'm listened in a lot of other places besides New York too, which is another killer part, because I really genuinely thought in my brain that a lot of my fans are in the tri-state area. You know, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. Those are the areas that I traveled a lot to as a performer. So I never really thought that it would really go farther than that. You know, I just figured the people that knew me were going to download the show every now and then, catch a few episodes, yada, yada, yada. But it's actually been a lot bigger than that. I mean, I'm looking at the list now. I just pulled it up. Obviously, the areas that I just mentioned are my biggest, you know, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. But I see states like California. I'm like, what the fuck? California? That's awesome. Cool. Thank you, guys. I'm trying to get to California, as a matter of fact, vacation style. I'm trying to get out there. I'm trying to convince the wife. The wife doesn't mind going, but my son on a 6 or 7 hour flight, bro, that's not going to work. We might have to purposely go out of our way to get a layover just to give him a break. He's only 3, and he's a fucking handful. So, California, Maryland, hello, holla, how you doing? Massachusetts, not that big of a surprise. I've done some work in Massachusetts, but again, it's got to be all online stuff. You know, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, Virginia, Illinois, Kansas, Missouri, Mississippi. Mississippi downloaded me. I'm shocked by that. I was joking about that with a buddy of mine, because I literally have a clip on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, which, again, if you go into the description, you can see what the YouTube channel link is, and you can check it out and get some nice samples and exclusive content. It's really fun. But anyway, the YouTube channel, I actually have a story on there called The Mississippi Story. And I almost guaranteed myself that no one in Mississippi would ever listen to me if I ever put that shit up. But Lord and behold, here we are. Somebody has. So Pennsylvania, Texas, I mean, it goes down the list here of all the different states, not just countries, but states that are picking up the show. That's called Steam, gentlemen, and I am gathering it. Unaware of how that happened. I guess you just, you know, all the hustle, all the work putting in, and this is what happens. You know, you start to show a little bit. I'm one of those people that no matter how hard you work, I don't really feel like the world owes you anything because of it. I think you're supposed to do that, and then whatever happens, happens. But it is nice to know that everything that I put in, and I do put in a lot. This is not something that I treat as kind of a side deal anymore. I mean, maybe in the beginning a little bit, because it really was. It genuinely was supposed to be just like this side thing that I was doing, but it's picking up so much steam right now, and it's doing so well, and I'm getting messages from people and comments and interactions, and the group is doing great. I've got over 1,200 people in the group, and I'm approaching 5. How does that work? I have about 1,200 people in the group, but only 500 likes on Facebook. Like that seems odd to me a little bit, but it's the truth. It's what's there. I don't even have 500. I have like 440, 450, some shit like that. I'm telling you all, the Instagram community is where Orsini's Uncensored Mind really gets a lot of its reach from. You know, the Twitter account is okay. You know, I'm trying to get my social media stats up, guys. You guys got to help me. And you guys are downloading the show, and I appreciate it, man. But give a brother a like, and don't be afraid to review the page either. I'll delete the bad ones, so you can just say whatever you want. I only keep the good ones. No one wants to keep the bad ones. Those are terrible. But I've been attached to pro wrestling for forever now. It's kind of who I am. It's what I do. And a lot of my stuff is about pro wrestling, and that's not a bad thing. I love it. I'll talk about it till the fucking day that I die. But I definitely wanted to fucking dabble in some other stuff today because, like I said, a lot of shit done hit the fan today. That's for my Mississippi folks out there. See, now I'm gonna start reaching now. I'm gonna start trying things out. Can we get a brother downloaded in the UK? Is there any London people out there who'd like to download my show? I think I just undid any chance I had of getting downloaded based on what I just did. But that's fine. That's fine. If you're gonna hold it against me, because of the accent, that's cool. Whatevs. You do what you do. You boo boo. You do you. All right. So there's a lot of shit that needs to be talked about here today. One of which is wrestling related. So why don't we go ahead and just get the wrestling shit out the way? Because we've got a lot of shit to talk about. So let's get the wrestling one out of the way. And, of course, whenever I put things out on Facebook or social media or anything like that, it's hit or miss. Obviously, it's social media, so it's hit or miss. I might put something out that gets like 1 like and 60 views, and then I'll put something random as fuck out that I get like 100 likes and like 6,000 views. And that's kind of what happened recently. So I was just sharing information. I didn't break any news. I'm not a news entity. I'm not a news site, so I just basically essentially just share whatever comes to me, and sometimes I will share something that is relatively new. For instance, like when I shared those Hall of Fame pictures, I got them on my phone. It wasn't like I went looking for them, they came to me, so to speak, so I didn't really have to go looking. In a situation like what happened the other day, I shared a link involving the WWE and the Fox deal. The $1 billion deal between Fox and WWE moving SmackDown to the Fox network. I shared it because I saw it, thought it'd be interesting to have on the page, and I thought, people might get a kick out of this. I did not realize that when I had shared it, or at least at the time that I shared it, a lot of people hadn't heard about it yet and hadn't seen it. So, man, traction galore, my friends. There was quite a bit of traction on that, and I got way more attention than I thought I was going to, and that's cool. And we had the debate, and we went back and forth, and like I said before, I love debate. I have some debate today that I'd like to discuss as well. We'll get to that, but right now let's talk about this one pro wrestling item of the day, and that's the WWE moving SmackDown to the Fox brand, Fox network, under $1 billion deal. Now that's a beautiful headline. I love that. $1 billion. I love it. I love the fact that there was the $1 billion because it makes it look so huge, and it is huge. I'm not going to downplay it, but when you look into the actual deal and you start getting into some of the details, it's a 5-year deal with $205 million per year, which is how you wind up with the $1 billion. Technically speaking, I guess that would be what. 1.025 billion, something like that. I don't know, something like that. 1.25 billion or some shit. And so that's how you wind up with the 1 billion. It's over the course of 5 years. Very similar to the Saudi Arabia deal, where it's spread over 10 years. Same deal here. I think Saudi Arabia was 10 years, 200 mil. So that's about $20 million a year. This deal far exceeds that. Not to mention all the other stuff I'm sure that's been discussed, ad revenue and TV rights and all this other shit that goes into it. There's a lot of side money to be made here, but that's the general deal. There's more information obviously involved with that. Google is your friend. You can get into the nitty gritty of it. I looked over a lot of the deal, but I'm not going to sit here and break down contracts. Okay, so what happened was with this is the parts of the deal you need to know. The only real relevant parts would be the fact that it's SmackDown, not live, not not Raw, not NXT, not 205 Live. The only deal so far that has been moved, or the only brand, the only entity so far that we know of that's being moved to Fox is SmackDown. Now, I noticed also in the wording that SmackDown, it was listed as SmackDown, not SmackDown Live. I don't know if that was a typo or intentional, giving us the idea that it won't be live, because it's also moving from Tuesday nights to Friday. If those of you who don't remember, originally SmackDown was a Thursday night show. Then it was moved to Friday night SmackDown, and then brought to Tuesdays as SmackDown Live. So it's most of its history, if I'm not mistaken, has been spent on Friday night. Now we're talking about 8 o'clock, possibly, more than likely, an 8 o'clock slot for SmackDown on a Friday night on broadcast television. That's huge. Any way you slice that, that's huge. Another instance here, and this is the one to me that really rung a bell in my head. SmackDown would be moving to a 3-hour format, much like Raw, which is why I said online that while it's a tremendous business move, and it is, I stand by that, it's going to give creative quite a kick in the nuts. Now, I'm not big on the creative for Raw. Not because I don't think they're creative, not because I don't think they can come up with interesting shit, not that I don't think they don't have great talent. 3 hours is a long fucking time to do pro wrestling. In any shape or form. I've said that a million times on this show. I don't like indie shows that go 3 hours. WWE is a much better situation, but even they don't want to go 3 hours. Vince McMahon has been on record multiple times and said the 90 minutes, when they used to do the 2-hour Raws, it's about 90 minutes of actual content as opposed to, well over 2 hours when you're doing the 3-hour Raw. You do about 90 minutes of content for a 2-hour Raw. That was perfection as far as he was concerned. It was the best way to put his shows together. He doesn't really want to do a 3-hour show. But Raw got put into a 3-hour format. They did it a few times at specials back in the day. But 2012 was when it went full-time 3 hours. And the creative took a hit. Now, you can have your arguments, and this is what we've been debating back and forth. It's been about 3 hour. Well, if you have a 3-hour Raw, that means you can showcase more talent. You have more of an ability to blah, 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 blah. That's what they thought back in 2012. The problem is the talent didn't suffice to the time. And if it wasn't the talent, it was the writing. If it wasn't the writing, it was the creative. The point is that when a 3-hour block, too much can go wrong. You're filling time. And that's where everything gets crazy. You're filling time. And if you're filling time, you're not really entertaining. And that's where the 3 hours gets me on Raw. And I think it gets a lot of people on Raw. I don't think the 3 hours would really matter to fucking people if it was a great 3 hours. But it's not. So you have all this talent. You have a litany of guys that they've signed over the years. They have an immense roster of pure talent. But if you don't have the right creative, if you don't put them in all the right spots, and it's just a cluster. That's what's happening with Raw. Now, Raw, back in the day, and we're going to go through this one day. I have all the stats. I'm going to get really into this one day, but used to average a pretty high number on an average week on the old Nielsen's when they would do the TV ratings, and Raw used to do great numbers. Now the average is somewhere in the low twos, low to mid twos. SmackDown's in the same boat. I believe the number that Fox threw out is WWE SmackDown is an average 2.59 rating, which is not terrible. It's very respectable, especially for the fact that it's a live broadcast every single week, no matter what. They've never skipped a week. It's content, fresh programming that you get all the time, which is why the ad revenue was so great, brings me back now to Fox, because Fox saw SmackDown was available. They jumped on it, but I'm sure the 3 hours for SmackDown is not a WWE decision. So for everybody to say, oh man, the WWE's killing us with all this programming, the WWE didn't make that decision. It was part of the bargain. We'll take SmackDown on our network. We'll put it at 8 o'clock. We'll give you prime time. But we need a third hour. Why? Because they're looking across the table at what USA's making and they want some of the action. Duh. If you're working with someone who's paying another guy X for the same amount of work that you're going to do, you want the money he's going to get. And I'm not going to pay the same money he's paying for one less hour of content. That doesn't make any sense. Ad revenue, baby. This makes money. Everyone gets money off this. Everyone makes out on this deal. So Fox is going to sit there. Of course they're going to sit there and say, we want a piece of the action. So they have to move SmackDown to a 3-hour format. I think the creative is going to take a hit. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that it will. But to be fair, SmackDown and Raw aren't exactly the most creative it's ever been, ever of all time anyway. And I heard a few other people, well, Fox, whenever they move entities in like this, they like to get their hands in on it, bring their people in, and so on and so forth. Hey, man, they can't do any worse than what's going on. There's not too many wrestling people running the creative and the writing team as we speak. I mean, we got a few head guys. Road Dogg especially, I think, is on SmackDown, and he's getting a bad rep at this point. I don't know why people keep pointing a finger at him. Like he could just book this shit any way he wants, like an old school territory. He is just booking the way that he wants to book these guys. Yeah, okay, keep dreaming. That's not how the WWE works. The WWE, for the record, doesn't have a booker. They haven't had a booker in a long fucking time. So you can go ahead and keep hashtagging Road Dogg all you want. All you're doing is putting more money in his pocket. So SmackDown moves to Fox. We don't have a date. Actually, the WWE in and of itself has not formally announced. This information that I'm getting is directly from the New York Post. Other websites and journalists have confirmed that this is going to be happening. Again, that's a 5-year deal, totaling out to just over $1 billion, $205 million per, and again, moves to Friday to a 3-hour format. Now, this has opened up the doors for a lot of people to also say, well, this opens the door for a lot of other things, right? Because they've got subsidiary networks, right? So one of the things I've heard people talk about is maybe NXT for Fox Sports Net, which would be stupid. Forget what you want to see for a second. As a business person, that is dumb. NXT is supposed to be developmental. Stop trying to make it a brand. First of all, why would you want it to be a brand? Why would you even want that? Because if it becomes a brand, if NXT actually becomes like part of a big three, and we're changing talent around, you know what that means? Vince is gonna get his fucking hands on it. If it starts getting on TV, like Fox Sports Net, all the people that you don't like and don't want to touch NXT is going to touch NXT. And for those of you saying, well, Triple H got his hands on 205 Live, why would he have to give up power to anyone for NXT? Because 205 Live is still on the network, just like NXT. It's on the network. Fox Sports Net, albeit not the biggest channel in the world, still a television product, which means it goes to the big dog, not Triple H. So I don't even know why you'd want that to happen. Why would you leave NXT alone? It's doing fine just the way that it is. And if you're saying to yourself, well, it needs to grow. No, it doesn't. It grows because it's a feeder system. The talent's consistently changing. It's freshening up every few months anyway. If you start growing, then those talents need to stay in NXT. And if you're thinking, well, it's a good thing they stay in NXT. No, it's not. Because if they have to stay in NXT because they're going to a network, that means the people who run the television shows on the network are going to get their hands on it. And then you'll be blowing your fucking brains out because you'll be seeing shit like Aleister Black doing a fucking This Is Your Life segment on fucking Fox Sports Net. You're all going to go banana sandwich fucking crazy. So be careful what you fucking wish for. Okay, we don't need that shit. Don't worry about that stuff. Just focus on what we got going on. Focus on the fact that all of your favorite indie guys from way back when, all your indie legends or whatever, that got signed to the WWE, they're all going to national broadcasting. They're all going to nationally syndicated broadcasting. Right? They're all AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, Eric Young. The list goes on and on of all these favorites that people were clamoring for to get signed. Now they're all signed. And they're going to be on one of the biggest networks in the history of TV. All for your viewing pleasure. Enjoy in that. Just like I'll be the one enjoying and reveling in the fact that all of this traction, all of this movement going from one television network to the next, billion-dollar deal, business up the wazoo, stock is rising, especially since the Fox announcement. Stock is rising. Everything is going through the roof right now for the business of the WWE. And I know you guys will have your favorites and you'll all have your theories as to why this is all happening. I know Vince McMahon's done a lot. Triple H has done a lot. The talent's really stepped up. They're hitting new networks. They're hitting new markets. It's becoming WWE is becoming a global sensation all over again. And folks, there's only one man that you can thank. Be to him the almighty modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal. I don't really have anything to say about him at this moment. I got a bunch of stuff that I need to get to. I just wanted to point out that you just know he's the reason, baby. Ever since he's become a main eventer, everything has gotten better. Life's gotten better. Stock's gotten up. Business has gone up. My life has improved immensely ever since he's become a main eventer. He's changed my life forever. And he's changing all of yours. If you would just let him in. Don't shun him. Embrace him. Bring him in. Come out from out of the cold, man. Stop hating on gender. Join the ride. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. We have other things to get to, folks. That was a lot of fun. All right, but that's the WWE stuff. That is out of the way. And for all you haters out there, all you people who like to go out there and talk shit, I got something else for you guys here. One of those new countries that I just mentioned that downloads my show, I'm speaking to you right now. I'm going to leave the U.S. just for a second, and I got to talk to you. We got to have a little powwow, or as the great Stone Cold says, we got to have a come to Jesus meeting about this. I got something to ask you Canadians out there, okay? What is up with the lady who took a shit at Tim Hortons? What is the deal? Hold on. I need to... Wait a second. Okay, so here's what happened. Okay, wait. Okay, so last week... I sound like Leo Getz right now. Last week, I uploaded my shit on Wednesday. And Thursday, shit literally hit the fan. Or at least, I don't know, he's a fan of something. I'm sure. He's a fan of something, so shit hit the fan. Listen, there was a lady, okay? And I went looking for her name. Because this bitch is my spirit animal, okay? She is my spirit animal. I want to be this woman when I grow up. The balls that she does not have, unless, deformities and whatnot. If she's currently built the way she's supposed to be built, then her balls are on the inside. But golly, they must be taking up all kinds of room in there and breaking organs down and some shit. Her balls are immense. Okay? There's a lady, I don't know if you've heard. In case you haven't heard, feast your ears on this shit. So a lady went to Tim Hortons in Canada. It was a Tim Hortons in British Columbia, Canada. All right, I got a province. That was the best that I could find was a fucking province. Okay, and for those of you who don't know, Tim Hortons is like this super Canadian thing. It's like a Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts type shit, but it's in Canada. It's like, Tim Hortons, like their own little franchise up there, right? And this lady went in there now from I saw the video. There's a video. You gotta Google this shit. You really do. There's a video of this, of a lady going at it verbally. I mean, ferociously with some, I would only assume a former Blink 182 fan. He looked like I don't know. I wouldn't say bitch, but he had very bitch-like qualities. He was just sitting there going back and forth with it too, but he had a much different stance. He had a much more submissive stance while this lady was going hog wild on his candy ass. She was giving him, what was it, JR? She was giving him the bad mouth. Boy, she was putting it on his ass big time. And I'm watching, and this is security footage, so there's no audio. So, man, I can only imagine the shit she was saying to this dude right to his motherfucking face. And they're going at it back and forth, back and forth. All of a sudden, she starts taking tissues. Like, she didn't leave the counter completely. She just went over to the side, and she starts grabbing tissues. Now, mind you, when I saw this video, I neglected to read the caption. So I didn't know what was about to happen. I was taken completely by surprise. All right, and I don't think I was the only one. So she's going at it with this dude. She grabs tissues. She starts walking backwards up against like this little divider that extends, that keeps the seats away from the cashier. It's like a little wall, like a little mini wall. And she starts propping up, and she took a shit. I mean, and it was like a sticky, loggy like shit. It was not a diarrhea shit at all. There was no breakage. It was like South Park. That shit looked like about 6.6 Keurig. It was it looked like a brown banana. It was like a perfect, like very cylinderish like shit. And she took it, and then like she took the shit. That popped me. I said, this bitch just took a shit in Tim Hortons. What came next was even worse, because she didn't proceed. Now, mind you, I told you before this started, she took the tissue, right? So she bends down. She takes the shit. Or as the Spanish people say, she dropped the mahong, right? There's a mahong on the floor at Tim Hortons in British Columbia. Now, she takes the shit. Obviously, she's paused the argument, because you can't fight and shit at the same time. The body won't let you. It shuts down. The chords will mix and it won't work. So she starts fighting with the dude. The dude walks around the counter like he about to do some shit. What are you about to do? There's a woman in front of you straight up breaking. You not contributing nothing. You got nothing else to do or say about this whole situation. Her ass has taken full control of the situation. So she drops this this banana-like shit on the floor. And then, luckily, he starts walking back behind the counter. Thank God for that, because her next action would have been really bad. She picks up the doo-doo. And she throws that motherfucker at him. She picked up caca and threw that shit across the Tim Hortons. Who the fuck goes to Tim Hortons and throws they shit at the staff? My God, she is my spirit animal. Then, that's the video. Now, after she throws them on her, she's already past the nasty shit, right? It's already gotten bad. She took a shit in Tim Hortons. That's bad, right? That's bad. And then she throws the shit. That's super bad. Here's the part that I thought was super disrespectful. Yes, I looked past the throwing of the shit. After she throws the shit, now clearly she's got a shitty butt. She got shitty hands, right? She proceeds to wipe her ass and then throw the ass tissue at the cashier. Now, obviously, it's tissue. There's no real weight to this, all right? The only weight that's on the tissue is the poo-poo in question, all right? She just wiped, so it's fresh, all right? It's like wiping. It's like when you pull the top of a frosting container. There's that little bit right there. That's what it looks like. So she tossed this now infested tissue. I think she really meant to toss it at him. She threw it with such vigor. I thought she really thought she was defeating physics at this point. But alas, it was still tissue. And it just dropped to the damn cashier. It dropped on the register, on the counter. So even if she didn't hit him with the poo-poo, he got to come back to this poo-poo-like desk with feces just spread across everywhere like smooth peanut butter just all over the place. And then proceeds to wipe her ass a little bit more, and then she leaves. And I say a little bit because all ass wiping situations seemed very quick, very unkind, and not very thorough. So while I think she got the bulk of the mess, I don't think she got down to the nitty gritty. Now, I went looking online for this bitch's name because I'm trying to send this bitch a thank you card, but they have not released her name. She was arrested shortly after in the parking lot, which makes it even more gangster when you think about it. The bitch walked in there, because what the story is that apparently she went in to ask if she could use the restroom. And the guy said no. And apparently he said no because this woman has been in here before and she done raised hell before and does God knows what to that bathroom. And now, having seen the video, I don't blame him. At first, I was going to call him a little asshole for letting this lady not use the bathroom. But now, knowing what this bitch is capable of, he made the right decision. So, well, I guess that depends on who you ask, because I'm pretty sure the next person who came in to relieve him on his shift was not expecting such a shitty situation. So she got she throws. Wait, no, I'm all befuddled here. So she's arguing with the dude. She takes a shit in Tim Hortons. She throws the shit. She wipes her ass inaccurately and then tosses the inaccurately wiped tissues at the register and then leaves, but does not leave Tim Hortons. The bitch was still outside talking shit. She was determined to get her fucking point across at this point. And the cops came and arrested this idiot. And now she's off doing God knows what. But this shit happened the day after I did a show. That's crazy. That's crazy. A shit in Tim Hortons. She is my spirit animal. One day I hope to have half the balls that she's got. We call this show Uncensored. Jesus Christ. She's raw. She's more than uncensored. She is raw. Jesus Christ. Whew. Taking a shit in Tim Hortons, baby. Next time I go to Walmart, I'm copping a squat. That's it. I'm not fucking with you people no more. Go ahead and let Burger King fuck up my order one more time. See what happened to your ass. You see what happened. Tell me again you don't have any more nuggets available. I've gotten that one before. Can I get a 10-piece? No, we don't have no more nuggets. Well, fuck you then. I'm just going to start throwing feces. That's it. That's it. That's what we're doing now. That's where the bar is set. You don't like customer service, you start throwing shit. That's it. That's where we're at. Thank this woman up in Canada. Now, the next story I have for you doesn't involve shit, but it does involve a shitty person. And, quite possibly, depending on your thoughts on this, shitty parenting. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard the story, but I heard the story, and it made me laugh like a motherfucker because this is just stupid on many, many levels. But it was so stupid, I felt I had to share it. Because the shit that was going through my mind when I read this shit, it made me so upset. Okay? It made me so upset. So there's a gentleman by the name of Michael. His name is Michael Rotundo. He lives in Camillus, New York. Now, for those of you who are unaware, I live in New York. I live in Brooklyn. I have no fucking clue where Camillus, New York is. I'm going to assume somewhere either upstate or mid-state. I don't know. But it ain't anywhere near me. And the gentleman's name is Michael. And Michael lives at home. Now, he didn't always live at home. He had an apartment or two. But he ran into some bad luck and found himself back at mommy's house. And the shit's getting ugly. So for those of you who don't know, his parents, Mark and Christina Rotundo, I'm saying it right, Rotondo. They've been trying to get this nigga out their house for forever. It's at a point now where he's past living there. The nigga's 30 years old. He's 30 years old. He's still in the house. They're trying to get him off his ass and do some shit. He don't want to do nothing. They tried to offer him money. They tried to pay him off. He don't want to take the money and leave. He is in their house, eating their food, ringing up their electric bill, right? Taking all the hot water, eating all the good cereals. That's what Michael is doing. So they went the extra mile. I don't even know how this works, but they went the extra mile, and they gave this nigga eviction letters. They gave him eviction letters. They brought up paperwork for him to get kicked out of the house. He doesn't own the house, by the way. Mark and Christina own the house. And they got eviction letters for their son to get the hell out of the house. Guess where Michael is? He's still in the house. They gave him these letters. As a matter of fact, the last one they gave him was February 18th. And on this letter, they offered him $1,100 to move out. I wish I could have gotten $1,100 to move out of my mother's house. Maybe if I would have stayed longer, I would have gotten the deal. But I was in such a rush to get out that motherfucker. I ain't even ask if money was an option. But apparently this guy was playing the long game because he said no. So they taking Michael's ass to court for real. Like this is a real case. The parents is trying to get their 30-year-old son to fuck about their house. And no dice. So what happened was they went to court. And they were in court for about 30 minutes. That's all it took for them to realize this shit was unbelievable. I can't imagine how fucking upset this judge must have been that he even had to see this shit. But the state Supreme Court Justice Donald Greenwood. Let me repeat that. State Supreme Court Justice Donald Greenwood had to see this case. And he spent 30 minutes listening to these motherfuckers bitches back and forth and complain. And when Mr. Greenwood asked Michael, how long would it take for you to get the fuck up out their house? This dude who's been there for forever. He's already been there for far too long. They said, I need 6 more months. That's what he told the state Supreme Court Justice. I need 6 more months. The Supreme Court Justice Donald Greenwood at that point began to laugh at his dumb ass, actually said the words, "This is outrageous," and then had the court issue yet another eviction letter to him stating he had to get the hell out of the house right now. Right now. The court said, all right, that's it. You can't live here no more. You got to go. So when the court case was over, you ever seen those Thug Life memes when somebody says something and then the video pauses, it goes to black and white and those shades pop up? Thug Life. Got that Dr. Dre beat in the background. Someone has to make a video of that shit. So Michael goes outside the courthouse and he tells the media to come with him. He's like, hey, come with me. I'm gonna bring some news for you. And he go outside and he said, I'm going to appeal that shit. And he said he's going to appeal it. And the judge left and the parents left and Michael left. And guess where Michael went? Home to his fucking parents. That motherfucker is still in the house. Boy, he's like a cockroach. He will not die. Michael cannot be killed. I am sure of this at this point. Michael might be the most gangster white boy I've ever seen in my life. He ain't going nowheres. What is that, George Lopez? He's not going nowheres. He's not going nowhere. Michael lives here now. Y'all living with Michael. Y'all don't know it. That's his house now. Mark. Michael is the king of the house now. Your petty eviction letters can do nothing to Michael. You know who the hell Michael is? He's Michael Rotundo, baby. Mike Roto. He owns this house. Pay his rent, dick. Stay the fuck up out of his fridge. Michael probably eats the big piece of chicken, too. I'm sure that he does. Christina got no point. Got no case. Got nothing you can say. Don't give Mark shit. Go get me some friends to fuck while you at it, ma. I'm going to sit here and drink this Kool-Aid up. You watch and see what I do. Jesus Christ, Michael's gangster. Moving on to the next story. Listen. I did my homework, son, because all these stories, I always flip through this shit when I'm on my phone, and I never say anything about it. But these motherfucking stories is crazy. Let's head over to Hawaii for a second. I don't know if you guys know, but there's been a few, are we on weeks or are we still on days? I'm not even sure. That part I forgot to look up, but it's been going on for a while. So I don't know if you guys know, but there's been an active volcano exploding and dishing out lava for the last few days, possibly even weeks. Mount Kilauea over in Hawaii. Or Kilauea, is that how that goes? Kilauea, whatever. It's been a path of destruction for fucking forever. And it's not just leaking out of the volcano and dissolving at the bottom of it, dude. It's plowing through towns. It's burning up homes. And the reason why I bring this up is because there's a gentleman by the name of Daryl Clinton. I don't know if you guys have heard about Daryl Clinton. But Daryl Clinton, in my opinion, is a badass. This motherfucker is for real. This guy is the real deal. Daryl Clinton. Now, the reason why you should know about Daryl Clinton is because Daryl Clinton got his leg shattered from a lava bomb. Do you know what a lava bomb is? I don't either. But when I looked it up, it sounded really bad. And essentially what a lava bomb is that the lava is flowing from the volcano. And the more things that it combines with, it starts to cause little explosions. So what happens is that extreme heat that eventually hits oxygen turns into molten rock. Rock. Hot rocks, by the way. Not like just big rocks, but like the hot shits, like in a sauna, right? Like just to like the millionth degree because it's fucking lava, right? So that's what a lava bomb is. The lava hits the oxygen or water or whatever it is that causes the molten rock. The rock shoots up into the air because of the pressure. It just flies up into the air and it hits something. That's how a lot of the house fires start. I know people just assume that lava pours into the fucking living room and things just ignite. But from a larger distance, a lot of the larger fires that start away from the volcano are from lava bombs. The bombs would fly up, it'd fly through the house, it would ignite whatever it hit, and the house would go up. So that's the bad guy. That's the villain in this story that I just explained. Here comes the white meat babyface Daryl Clinton, because Daryl Clinton got his leg shattered from a lava bomb. What was he doing that caused him to get his leg shattered? Well, according to the headline, Daryl Clinton was defending his home. How was he defending his home? He was fighting the lava. You did not mishear me. That's exactly how I found this story. Daryl Clinton was fighting the lava. Apparently, these Hawaiians have found a system to where as the lava begins to pour in your direction, I don't know if it's just water. I don't even know the full details of how this works. But there is a system where you can keep the lava from burning up the house. And he's been doing it for days now. And he's not the only one. Apparently he has a neighbor in Lisa. Her name is, ready for this? This is what makes the story great. Lisa Roach. Not a pseudonym. Not a fake name here. Lisa Roach. And they've been watching the house over the course of the last few days, taking shifts, morning, afternoon, evenings, even into the overnight. They've been watching and keeping shifts, making sure the lava doesn't burn their homes up. They've literally been fighting lava for the last few days, not even like the last few hours. We're in the weeks category of them going toe-to-toe, man to lava, and woman to lava, straight up fighting lava. That's badass. The less badass part is that they've been really good at it for several fucking days, several weeks, right? And Daryl Clinton was on shift. And he was on shift, and he was on his he grabbed his cell phone to call somebody for some sort of assistance. He needed something involving resources. He needed something for the house. And he was on the phone, and unbeknownst to him, a lava bomb was already in the air, and it hit him on the leg, and he shattered his leg. Daryl Clinton got his leg shattered from a lava bomb whilst fighting lava. That is a badass story. I love Daryl Clinton. He is the man. Daryl Clinton, Lisa Roach. I salute you guys. Now, they said that Daryl Clinton did not have too much damage to his leg, considering that it was a bomb. And a bomb in the sense of the way that it explodes out of the lava. It doesn't actually explode upon impact. It's essentially just a big rock. So that's how the leg got shattered. What happens is it's a really, really hot rock. And the doctors were saying that because it was a hot rock, it actually saved him, because the rock hit him in his leg. It shattered the bone upon impact. But the the bomb was so hot that it burned off it singed all the wounds and cauterized all the wounds so that he didn't bleed out. Everything stayed kind of in place. It was just shattered into a bunch of pieces. So he's going to be bedridden for a little while. He has been replaced on the line. They're still fighting the good fight against those dreaded lava monsters. And Daryl Clinton, get well soon, brother. Badass of Hawaii. Over here fighting the lavas. If it was a Disney film, this would have been lava monsters. And he would have like a shield and a sword. And Lisa Roach would be like in a seemingly unconvincingly defensive armor where it just reveals a lot of her boobs and upper abdomen area. This would have been great. This is a good screenplay. If you could take liberties. Straight up, two older people fighting lava with buckets of water. Not good TV. But if you could figure out a creative way to have them fight lava, that's good stuff. That is awesome stuff. So those are all a bunch of different fun little stories that I've gotten along the way. I always see these things when I travel through the Facebook and all that other stuff. And I always say to myself, man, this would be good to talk about on the show. And I never do, because usually something stupid happens on Raw and SmackDown and I am feeling obligated to talk about it. But I didn't see Raw and SmackDown this week because, like I just told you guys, finals, I've been busy. So I haven't even fucking seen these episodes. So I have nothing to talk about when it comes to wrestling, to be honest with you. I'm not that enthralled with the Money in the Bank build-up. I'm not that enthralled with everything that's been going on with Daniel Bryan. I'm not that enthralled with a lot of the things that's been going on. I'll wait till the Money in the Bank pay-per-view to get excited, because I know once we get a briefcase winner, then we'll be off and running in a particular direction. I don't like situations where we're trying to get all 8 people intrigued at the same time. You can make it work in other ways. So you're not enthralling me. I'm not in any real rush to see Raw and SmackDown. So I haven't. So I really don't have a fucking thing to talk about when it comes to Raw and SmackDown or anything related to Money in the Bank. That's why I've been doing all these miniature little stories, because I think they're hilarious, and I hope you've had a hilarious time listening to them. Before I get into my last story, before I get into my last topic here, I just want to run by this stuff one more time. I normally do these in the beginning and end, but this time I definitely want to do this now, because the next story is not so funny. So I'm going to do all of my bill paying right now as we speak. So if you're listening to me right now, you're probably listening through the Podbean app or through ajoum.podbean.com, which is the #1 source of Orsini's Uncensored Mind episodes. That's where I upload everything. The RSS feed brings it into other places, but this is where I upload everything directly. If you can't get to Podbean, because Podbean does have its issues, once again, I'd like to let everyone know I don't work for Podbean. So if you can't listen to Podbean, that's absolutely fine. You can find me on my other platforms: iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, the TuneIn Radio app. I just announced last week that I am officially on CastBox. That is castbox.fm. It is not an actual radio station, despite the fact that it's a .fm, but it works kind of like a dial situation. You go to the website, you can go to the app, you search my name the same way you do all the other ones, it all comes up. I also have that was not really a special announcement. It's kind of a heads up that there's another app that's kind of up and coming. It hasn't been out there as long, but they're definitely spreading out. Listen Notes, I have been in contact with them. That is another podcast delivery system where you guys can get not just podcasts like this, but music and all kinds of different things. It's a brand new company that's been coming, has starting up this year. It's a startup. I love working with people who are creative and doing new things, and they're going to try to do some new things. I've heard some very interesting stuff about them, and they want to work with me on a few projects, and I'm very interested. So I don't know where this is headed, where it's going. I'll learn more either tonight or tomorrow because I haven't had a chance to check my email. He emailed me some information that I have to look over. So we'll know more. Definitely by the next episode, we will learn more. But definitely the newest platform to catch the show, castbox.fm. Now, the next story that we're going to get into here, it's the final story. I only have a few minutes left to talk to you guys. But it's something that I have to talk about. I normally actually stay away from this stuff. And the reason for that is because in the beginning when I started doing this podcast, there were a lot of situations that took place that I always felt the need to at least mention in some way, because I just felt like ignoring it would just be stupid. But I also said a few episodes back that I wasn't going to keep harping on this kind of stuff because it just leads to the wrong kind of discussion. I like having discussion. I like having debate. I like going back and forth with people. But what happens is it gets very emotional for people. You know, for some reason, when people argue and debate, there's just decision amongst themselves that there has to be a winner to the argument or debate. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can state your thoughts and opinions on it. I can state mine. If we can convince one another, that's cool. But if not, we don't have to go any further than that. Most of the time when this happens online, it really defeats the purpose. It's online. I don't even fucking know you. So what do I have to change your mind about shit? This is how I feel, and then that's how you feel, and that's where we're at. So it starts to get really heated. It starts to get debated. It starts to get really serious for people. So I tend to keep my arguments and debates to people that I know will actually conduct one. So that takes me to Santa Fe High School. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because it needs to be talked about at least just a little bit, because I have made a few comments earlier in different episodes before when situations like this happen. When Las Vegas happened, I brought it up. When Puerto Rico happened, I brought it up, but that was for personal reasons, so I just felt the need to bring it up. You know, when it's natural disasters, when it's gunmen, when it's different things like this and that, everyone has their opinions and everyone has their thoughts and everyone feels the way that they feel, and that's fine. You're free to do that. The reason why I'm bringing this one up is for multiple reasons, but before we get into the reasons why I'm bringing it up, let's talk a little bit about what I'm bringing up. Santa Fe High School is a high school in Santa Fe, Texas. It's about 30 miles east of Houston. It's a high school. And there was a school shooting there that took place a few days ago. A young gentleman, I can't even pronounce his name, and I don't really care to. He's a piece of shit, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to try. It's Greek, so it's Demetrios Paga shit. I don't care. Whatever his name is. Google's your friend. You can look it up yourself. But the point is he's being charged with capital murder, and aggravated assault on a police officer, which is another part that kills me. He's being charged with capital murder because he, killed a bunch of fucking people. And separate to the charge of all said killing, they have an aggravated assault on a police officer. So he's being charged for the death of multiple people, but they also felt the need to add extra to it. He was mean to a police officer. He didn't kill the police officer. Police officer's fine. But he aggravatedly assaulted him. So let's also throw that on top. Because it means more that he did it to a police officer. He's just not another human being like the rest of us. But that's just how it's listed. So 10 dead, 10 injured. Of the 10 that are dead, 8 students, 2 teachers. From what I understand about the 2 teachers who passed away, they died in the way you would think they would die, and that was protecting their students. The young gentleman in question had 2 weapons on his person, a shotgun and a .38 revolver. Both of those guns are legally owned by his father. How he got a hold of those guns is still unclear. But the fact is he had those guns. He took those guns to school that particular morning. And first period, He didn't wait any fucking time. He did not waste the day. He started bright and early. Somewhere in the 8 to 9 o'clock hour, first period, art class, he decided, fuck art. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And he decided he was just going to shoot a bunch of people. Now, normally, we don't really get too many chances to ask the gunman on their motives because the kid usually either gets killed or kills themselves. This particular instance, that did not happen. The person in question, very much still alive. When arrested, that's how we found out about the 2 guns. That's how we found out who owned the guns that he had. We also found, not we, I'm not part of the investigative unit, but you get what I'm saying. I'm saying we for shorthand purposes here. On the school grounds, there were 2 explosive, there was an explosive device, a CO2 device, which I'm unclear what type of bomb that is, other than the fact that obviously I know it's carbon monoxide. I just don't know how that works. And they found a Molotov cocktail that was actually unlit. There were 2 armed guards on campus who did engage the suspect. And while we did lose 10 people, I am being told that those 2 guards are a big reason why we didn't lose more. So unlike the situation that happened in Florida, when the armed guards were basically giant pussies and didn't want to do anything, these 2 armed guards actually did respond to the situation. They jumped on it and did exactly what they were supposed to do, which is risk their lives in order to save the lives of children. So very much unlike the last time we had the Florida shooting, I mentioned that those guys were pussies, and I came on my show and I destroyed those cops that were there. These 2 cops I would like to salute because they did exactly what the job was. Their job was to play shield until these kids can be free from danger, and they did that. So those are the facts on the case thus far. There's one fact I did not mention yet, because this is where the debates usually happen. Because normally, what ends up happening is that if this is not a black person, which it hardly ever is, I'd love for someone to link me to one. I'm playing it safe by saying, sure, maybe it's happened before, but I've never heard it. Spanish is the same way. Muslim, forget it. We'll be here all day. Whenever these things happen, it's a terrorist situation. It's an Islamic situation. There's scripts for all of these things. When it's a white guy, the script is very different. The script reads with bullet points. Mental illness, nerd, he was always picked on. There's always reasons why it was kind of okay. We kind of get it, right? These people were fucking asking for it, right? This situation is a little bit different. There's no history of mental illness. None. No history of mental illness. There's no previous arrest records for him or his father. Nothing. Clean bill of health across the board. Nothing out of the ordinary. Like I said, the young kid is currently in custody. When asked why he did this, most people give you the runaround, straight up not answer, or give you bullshit. This fucking kid was extra honest. He was very clear as to why he did this. And the reason he gave to why he killed all these kids is there was a young, pretty girl in school that he was trying to get hooked up with. She politely told him no, his words, not mine. But the no drove him insane because he really wanted to get with her. So he picked up a shotgun and a .38 revolver, went to school, and killed a bunch of fucking people. Now, he didn't just attempt to kill the one girl. He took all the baggage with him and tried to kill the kids that were mean to him as well. He's on record for saying he had the opportunity to kill way more than 10. But he said with his own words, I spared the ones who were nice to me. That's called premeditated murder. He thought about it all the way through. Had no problem killing. Zero. That was his solution to the problem. Hey, you want to go out on a date? No, I don't really see you in that way. Cool. There have been some poor responses to friend zoning before in the past. This will be one of the all-time worst. 10 dead, 10 injured. Now, the reason why I have a problem with talking about these topics is because it always lands on the same deal. It always lands on either gun control or mental health. That's where usually the debates are. We need more gun control. We need more gun laws to make sure that these guns don't wind up in the hands of crazies. And then there's the other side. We need more mental health precautions. We need more counselors. We need more doctors. These kids need to be seen. They need outlets so they won't have the interest or the want to get these guns to kill other people. And for some oddball reason, this is one of the reasons why I dislike having these arguments, you have to be on one side as opposed to the other, which never made any sense to me. Why can't you be a gun owner that is okay with stricter gun laws? Why can't you be for mental health and against it, depending on the situation? Again, it's always the situation. Why would, like for instance, this kid, why would we get him counseling? He thought this is premeditated. It wasn't something tragic that happened in his life. He basically said, fuck you, bitch. And just took it way too fucking far. That's a character defect. That's not a mental health issue. He's an asshole. We have those here on planet Earth. Assholes. There's plenty of them. And that's why I never really want to have the debate. I never really go back and forth between gun control and health debate. I don't like going back and forth on it because, quite frankly, I'm a little bit of both. I don't mind the gun control stuff. I don't mind the mental health stuff. I don't mind having that debate. I don't mind having that conversation. Let's talk about, if kids are being killed, I think it's fair to have the conversation on any topic. Don't you believe so? Don't you think that we should be open to just about anything that would stop this? Because you can't say now that, well, we shouldn't change an entire law that affects millions of Americans simply for the mistakes of a few. But the few mistakes, the few people that are making the mistakes are making catastrophic ones. Yes, in this situation, 10 people died and 10 people were injured. And for most people, you'll see 10 dead and you'll say, well, that's sad, but it's not a huge number. You know why we don't feel like 10 is a huge number? Because the Las Vegas guy hit 500. That's why we don't see 10 as a big number. If this never happened, like Australia hasn't had a gun massacre since 96. That's what everyone keeps talking about, right? The gun laws in Australia are great. They're awesome. They don't have any gun violence in Australia. So they haven't had anything since like the early 90s, or the mid 90s. If 10 people died from a gun-related accident today in Australia, it'd be chaos in the streets. It would be news all over the world. People would be freaking the fuck out. It would be, what are we going to do? What happened? How do we prevent this? It would be mayhem. But it's the States. It's the U.S. 8 kids died. 2 teachers died. That's just a Thursday. And that's how people are treating it. So that's why I don't like to have the debate. Because there's no singular answer. For anybody who will go online or anybody that'll share their opinion and tell you, this is how we're going to fix this, they're full of shit. They don't know. They don't know. Because you know what the one thing this situation has in common with Las Vegas, it has in common with Florida, it has in common with Columbine, it has in common with the Connecticut shooting. You know what all of those things all have in common? Human beings. That's why it's never going to go away. You can have the debate on how you want to stop things all the time. Human beings. These situations are the bad that goes with the good when it comes to human characteristics. This is what we do. Not all of us. It's the mistake of the few. But a lot of us maintain and control those urges. How many times have you been so upset that you actually thought in your head, if I can get away with it, I would kill this motherfucker? These people don't have that little piece of them that tell them you shouldn't do this. Their brain is saying, fuck it, they deserve it, you should do it. That's the only difference between us and them. We have the ability to control it. But it's there. There's a human characteristic that we can't ignore. We can't turn off. These people, I mean, we are good at inhibiting it and making sure it doesn't take over us. But how do you think a lot of these situations happen? There's people who are in jail right now for murder. They never had any intention of murdering that person. Shit got out of hand. Things went crazy. It was me or him. He had to go. But you're able to do that because it's a part of you. It's who we are as people. It's not going anywhere. People say, "Oh, I've been saying it since this incident." When will it end? When does this stop? It doesn't. It's the answer nobody wants to hear, but it's the answer. It doesn't. You can try to control it. You can try to contain it. You can try to have it as few amount of times as possible, but it doesn't go anywhere. It isn't going anywhere. It's who we are. For as long, I'm not a religious person. I don't use the Bible in my everyday life. But the oldest story in that Bible, or one of the oldest story in that Bible, is Cain and Abel. So for as long as human history has been happening, from day one, there's been tragedy. Eve eating the apple, tragedy. Fuck humans up for forever, right? Even if you steer away from religion and just look based solely on history, look at the history books and everything humans have done to each other since the beginning of fucking time. Tragedy after tragedy, droves, genocides, the Trail of Tears, the Bay of Pigs, everything that has ever happened in the history of this entire planet. It isn't going anywhere. Gun control law is not going to change that. Mental health is not going to change that. It will make it harder. It will make it more difficult, and that should be the goal. I'm not sitting here saying we shouldn't fight and we shouldn't try to better the situation. Anything that you can do to better a situation, you should probably explore it, make sure it's the best possible solution, and implement it. I'm not sitting here saying, fuck it, let's just purge. What does it all matter at this point? I'm not being Rick from Rick and Morty right now. What does it all matter? There's multiple verses, multiple universes. No, I'm not saying that. Fight. Go ahead. Fight. Do what you need to do to make sure you have a better life for you and your family. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. What I'm saying is that the answer to the question of when will it end is never. Anybody who can sit there and tell you, I have got it figured out, this is how you stop it, is bullshit. This is going to take a group effort to get it as low as humanly possible. We all have to be on the same page for it to reach a low percentage of this happening again. But since we're always divided, and for the record, we'll always be divided, that percentage will always be high. This will be continuing to happen. Those guns were legally owned by a gun owner who went through all the channels that he needed to go through to legally possess those guns. The moment that those guns were in the house to hit in his possession is where we need to figure out what the problem is. And someone online actually brought up a very good point that I loved. And that it was a 17-year-old boy who took these guns, the shotgun and the .38 revolver. And both of those guns were legally owned by the father. And the person online, I wish I could remember their name, but I can't. I was trying to find it before I started filming so I could bring it up, but I can't find it anywhere. He brought up a good point. By legal standards, one of the laws that we should change that I think would really dumb down a lot of this, one of the best ideas I've heard, since the kid used his dad's shotgun and .38 revolver, the dad should also go to jail. And I think that that's right, because when I went for my gun license, they tell you very specifically during training courses, that gun is supposed to be locked up at all times. Your name is on that registration list with the number. The number, every gun has a registration number on it. It's on a file. It's on a system. Anything happens from that gun, it's your ass. Anything happens. If I lose my gun, somebody picks it up and commits fucking murder with it. Yes, the person who committed the murder will be going to jail, but there are going to be repercussions for me too because that was my gun. So, and this is not the first situation where a kid got his hands on a gun that was owned by somebody else. So in these situations, there are people who are dead. So if the kid is going to face heavy consequences, and he should, for what he's done, the gun owner should also face some sort of consequences for this. The fact that he's going to just sit here, and then the father goes on public TV and tells the world, well, the real victim of this entire situation is my son. I'm going to repeat again. 10 dead, 10 injured by the kid who found his dad's 2 guns, and the dad goes on national TV and tells the whole world, my son's the real victim here. That's why we're always divided, folks. That's why we're always on the same page. Mentality is completely different. Okay? I'm going to get more in detail on this on other topics because there's a lot of things coming up down the pike right now that I definitely want to talk about. But those are my thoughts on the entire situation. And I really hope that you guys can understand somewhat where I'm coming from. If not, cool. I'm not saying this so that you do. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. If you don't feel what I'm telling you, if you're not on the same page and you've got other thoughts, cool. Drop them in the comment box below. Let's have the conversation, because I'm not sitting here trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just stating what's coming from my mind and from my heart. That's it. That's all that I'm doing. If anybody wants to disagree, you're more than welcome to. To call me out and call me an idiot for it, that's going to get met with a very different response. One that I'm sure you will not like. So hit up the comment box. Let me know what you think about the entire situation, especially about my remarks about it being human characteristics, and this is basically humankind, because that's where I usually get the most resistance. Because people will say, well, that's not humanity. Humanity is good, and humanity... I'm not saying humanity doesn't have goodness. There's good and there's bad. There's yin and there's yang. There's good and there's evil. It's always been that way. It's never going to change. It's been that way since the beginning of time. And nothing that we say, nothing that we do, nothing that we legislate will ever change that. There are going to be assholes, and there's going to be good people on this planet. The trick is deciphering which one is which. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for downloading. Thank you guys for sharing. And once again, thank you guys for enjoying. Let's hope for 1,000 more, folks. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Anybody house. Listen to my daddy song. Or see the extra line.